Join Sean and Brad as they talk about sports and share a beer. From the east coast of Canada to the west coast of the United States. Over to you, boys.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? Sean and Brad here again. Guys, Beer Sports, episode 8. And so today we're going to recap a couple things. And then, Sean, what I want to talk about is you and I have had a couple luxury box experiences at sporting events. I think let's recap maybe some do's and don'ts for luxury boxes.
I totally agree. Oh. Yeah, so that's my cat.
That cat
Yeah.
is jacked up.
Yeah, he just jacked me up here. He just jumped up here and ruined everything. That's unbelievable. Yeah.
Well,
It's all good.
nothing to say about it, but I'll keep it PG for the kids. Ruins everything. So real quick, what I wanted to touch on before we get too far out of the way is I wanted to talk about the Major League Baseball playoffs. Because every year, being a habitual loser in Seattle, I find myself watching the opening round of the playoffs, and I get sucked in by a team, and like that becomes my adopted team for the playoffs.
Right.
And so
Hopefully it wasn't the Jays.
was not the Jays.
Yeah.
It will never be the Jays. It will never be the Yankees.
Yeah.
I think it's about normally it's a National League team because I feel like that's different. I feel like I'm not cheating on my team if I'm in the National League.
Right.
And so a couple years ago it was the Dodgers, but this year, like I knew, and I kind of thought it was going to be the Dodgers this year. I really did. Or the Braves. Those are kind of like my two go-tos. But you want to know who I fell in love with the past
Who's
couple
that?
years? The San Diego Padres. What a fun team to watch. The energy is great. I love the manager.
I
I'm all
have to
in.
agree with you. Yeah.
So
I mean, for
San Diego,
me,
thank you for having a team for once. I appreciate it. Maybe it's because they're 22 years off the slide, right? Maybe now they're in, so that gives me some kind of hope. I don't know. I think the energy is great. I've never been a big Manny Machado fan, but I am today, right? Tatis, all of them, just there's so much talent there, right? And then part of it, Austin Nola's there, right? Who was a guy from Seattle that got traded midseason, that I always kind of pulled for while he was here. So there's a lot of familiarity there. But man, I tell you what, it's going to be fun to watch him. So San Diego, don't let me down. Let's make this work.
yeah, like I'm just thinking to myself, like the last time we ever talked about San Diego Padres would be when Tony Gwynn was playing, and hitting amazing. And then after that, I mean, like, honestly, they were just kind of like this team that just drifted off into existence because they really didn't do anything. So I understand why you're saying what you're saying, because it's always great to go for somebody like that. So I'm having a look here, right? So as I look, I mean, the usual suspects all make it through, right? So it looks like we have the Astros, usual suspects are through. Tampa Bay, actually big surprising thing because they went from 100 losses last year to being number one.
Yep.
And I'm going to get into that Jays game there in a second, but let's move on there. So the Yankees, I mean, I'm actually surprised the Yankees took care of the Indians 2 straight games.
Yep.
Atlanta, no problems, right? Dodgers, yeah, you think what the Dodgers are going to happen, it's going to happen. Miami beating the Cubs, though, that's interesting, right?
That was interesting. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so, Oakland's in, man. And then the Padres beating the Cardinals, like you said, that is something. So now what I could see here, so that was like the best of 2 games, right? And then now it's going on to the DS, the divisional series. So now it's a best of 5, right? So best of 3,
Right.
then a best of 5.
Yep.
So I mean that's cool. My big thing is like the couple of things is it's weird seeing those numbers when they're coming up and they're showing the season numbers, and it's like 39 RBIs, 10 home runs, and they're going, wow. And
League leader.
Yeah, and you have to remember that that's like the whole season.
Yeah.
But what's really ticking me off here, and it just seems like this seems to be the thing that's happening right now in sports, is basically analytics. Analytics has taken over sports, but nowhere is it more apparent that it is in baseball. And the way that the Jays played, I mean, honestly, why do they even have a manager there? Schumacher comes out to pitch in that first game. He pitches for 3 innings, doesn't let it run. But whoever punched whatever into this algorithm said, pull them out in the third and then start putting in your relievers.
Yeah.
I think it's putting a lot of bad taste in a lot of people's mouths because it's no longer that gut feeling that you would get. Now it's like, oh, the computer's telling me to do this. This is what the computer tells me. Well, why the heck do you have a manager? I don't know. That's just my rant.
Maybe at some point you won't, right? I mean, how far away are we from a team having a computer for a manager, right? We're some robot sitting there making decisions.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
It does.
It's terrible. I used to read this book when I was little. I don't remember what it is. I can't remember the name of it. I'll find it and put it out there. But it's essentially it was like in the future, and all sports were played by robots, and you controlled the robots from the side. You know what I mean? Like there was no more athletics.
That's all they had. Then. Yeah. That's not even sports then.
No, it's terrible. I remember reading it as an 8-year-old and just being like, God, this is terrible. This is the future. I want no part of it.
So today, Brad, you have no beer of the week right now, just due to a couple of things that are happening right now. So we won't go into great depth about that. But I'm going to introduce my beer of the week here from Propeller out here in Nova Scotia. It is a limited time pumpkin spiced ale from Propeller.
Man.
So Propeller Brewing Company putting out the limited. I love my pumpkin spiced ales. I do. So whenever October rolls around, I look for them.
Yeah. I know. That's why I feel like, for you, it's pumpkin spice everything, right? So you got your Ugg boots on and your.
It's true.
You got a scarf. You got a scarf. You put a little pomade in your beard.
It's like permanent fall here.
Yep. That's the thing. So, but I do love pumpkin spice things too. I just like to make fun of it because it feels like it's basic. So
yeah.
I have a request real quick.
Yeah.
Coco, what's up? No, not right now, but in a little bit, okay? Deal? Okay, thanks. We have a hot tub in my house, and it's a big commodity. And so early this morning, typically I wake up early during the week to work out because that's the only time I have. And so I get up at 4. And so at 6 o'clock on Saturdays, like that's sleeping in for me.
Right.
And so I got up this morning and my son was awake. And so he was like, hey, let's get in the hot tub. And so all the kids know. So me and Jackson got in the hot tub this morning and did a little hot tub session. But the girls have figured it out. And so now they want to go in too. So we've got a little bit of a power struggle going on. So.
Man.
Anyway, so sorry for the interruption to everyone. That was just me being a dad on a Saturday morning.
No, go ahead.
Let's move on from the pumpkin spice comments because I feel like I don't want to take away from the beer. I think the beer is great. I just, I like to get into the basicness of fall. So.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, you're gonna get a pumpkin spice latte later, I think, though, because you're there. And
I love it. I'll put a scarf on and everything. Tuck it inside my hoodie so no one can see it because I feel about hoodies.
Well, the thing is that
the coolest thing is the temperatures have dropped this week. Is like opening up my closet and seeing my hoodie section and being like, yes, my lovelies, like, come on, let's get this.
What is it? What is it there right now?
That's in the high of 63 or something like that.
Oh, for crying out loud, it dropped. Yeah, we're. I mean, honestly, we're at 18 degrees Celsius here, which is comparable. So yeah.
But in the mornings, it's a nice crisp 50.
Yeah.
So by the afternoon, you're taking your hoodie off, but the morning, you're definitely bundled up in a hoodie and all around. It's a good time of year.
For sure.
Sweatpants.
All right. We haven't talked any NHL there, so congratulations to the Tampa Bay Lightning pulling that one out. I don't think that was any big shocker, though.
No, I felt like it went the way it was supposed to go. I really wanted to see a Game 7, but you could tell by in Game 6 where the energy level was, and Dallas has kind of ran out of gas.
I mean, the thing is that Vasilevsky is definitely a premier goaltender. And as I said, I mean, even though Game 1 he let in 4 goals, the thing is that they had legit competition, of course, scrutiny from last season. So I was thinking to myself, it probably made them a lot tougher than what they were last season, because last year they got swept by Columbus, and then this year they were just like, no, none of that crap. And then they took care of Boston pretty handily, and the Islanders, they went to 7 games, I think, with the Islanders, but
they struggled with some injuries going into that series, right? So
their top star.
A little bit about, and they had some rust they had an earlier layoff right? And so we know that sometimes that stuff hangs out. But kudos to them for getting it done.
Yeah, and Dallas, I mean, they actually played great as well. It's not like they didn't have any stiff competition. They did as well. When you think about it, the Colorado Avalanche and Vegas Knights, tough team. So they really were they showed a lot to me, and I hope that this is something for them to build on. So great series.
It feels to me like the NHL is maybe the only league that has a lot of parity from the East to the West, right? I think, or division wise, right? Like, I don't know that you can say that about baseball necessarily. I know you can't say about football, and you definitely can't say that about basketball. I think, the Western Conference is a gauntlet in the NBA. Like it's a who's who of teams.
The NHL, I mean, the West used to be, because the West was where all the big players were, like big, not just big hockey players, but I mean big players would go out to the West, and they were usually bigger teams.
Because the West goes to the best coach, Sean. Jeez.
Yeah, but now, I mean, you can't tell either way. And also hockey is one of those sports where it's like basketball, you could see one player making a dynamic difference, and football, you could see a dynamic difference depending on who your quarterback or whatever is, But hockey, it doesn't matter. You could have the best player in the world, and you could still be a garbage team because it is such a team sport, And I'm not trying to say the football or basketball or baseball is not a team sport.
It's more baseball than it is basketball or football, right? Because there's more one-on-one matchups in basketball and football than you find in hockey or baseball, right? Like it's definitely more of a team game. You can have we saw that with Miguel Cabrera when he was on the tear with the Detroit Tigers, right? And they were just terrible. Yeah, but the guy could hit, you know what I mean? And he was setting records and doing those things, but they weren't necessarily winning. So
right.
That's kind of the thing. So I think those parallels those two sports. So congratulations, Tampa Bay. I hope that your baseball team takes down the Yankees, because that'll do all of us some good.
So something that I was talking Thursday, unfortunately the production was terrible there, but when I was talking with Dave and I was talking with Reed, and Dave was just in Tampa actually the week that they won the Stanley Cup, and he said it was crazy. He said it was crazy seeing the amount of Tampa Bay Lightning stickers on vehicles, and he goes it was all like all young black men. They were just like cheering because they're just so desperate for a championship in Tampa. And it's like, he was there going like, this is crazy. I would never have dreamt it. And so, you know what? I'm glad to hear that hockey is taking off a bit more on that side, because I remember the first time that they won it back in 2004, and it was kind of like a blip to them, right? Because it's like they really didn't know what hockey was, because it's not a place that you would be introduced. So congratulations, Tampa, legit. You deserved it. I'm glad you have a championship. I just don't want you to win it in football. That's it.
Yeah, man. Who has it better right now, maybe, than Tampa for competitive teams?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I guess Boston. I guess Boston's there.
Well, except for baseball. I mean, right now, the Rays.
Sure. I guess I was just thinking about like three of the major four sports. You've got, the Bruins and the Celtics, and then of course the Patriots, right? Mm-hmm. All making noise. And then Tampa Bay's got all of their teams essentially, right? Because they don't have a basketball team.
Yeah.
Looking like they're going to be playoff teams this year. So good for them. I'll still take my 4-0 Seahawks, so whatever.
Wait, 4-0. It's only 3-0, brother. What are you talking about? We'll get into that later. I don't know. You're just
we'll talk about
forwarding. Holy jeez, we haven't even hit Sunday. Holy jeez, look at you.
Yeah, that's with no beer. Imagine how confident I'll be.
All right, so we also have the NBA playoffs here to talk about.
Yeah. Man, I believe in coincidence. I hope the Lakers don't wear those Mamba jerseys the next two games, because it'll be a sweep. Yeah,
that's not the Lakers. That's like yellow and.
Yeah, those guys are gonna refuse to lose in those jerseys. It's interesting to me. You know what else has been super fascinating to me is to watch Kobe Bryant's impact on this, even on this series, because the shoes that are out there now for him, it's predominantly, you look on the court, and if the guy doesn't have his own signature shoes, they're wearing Jordan, or they're not Jordans. They're wearing Kobe's. and it's
Yeah.
been an interesting, kind of paying homage to the man. And so I don't know. There's a different way. I still want the Heat to make this competitive, and ultimately, I would like the Heat to win the series. But that just goes back to my rooted hatred for the Lakers. So
Man. Yeah.
it's hard to root against them. But
so Bam didn't play. Bam had done.
Yeah.
Man, I'm trying to say his last name.
Good luck.
I know.
Bam. I think Dragic didn't play either.
Yeah.
So there's that.
I think that Miami's a little banged up. I mean, and the Lakers right now are showing their depth.
Yeah, it was interesting. Towards the end there, you saw the Lakers start to struggle with that zone. I think if they can get healthy, that being Miami, then maybe they can get a game or two. But I think it looks like Laker domination is something we're going to see.
And again, it's not something that's totally surprising. You know what I mean? They are the favorites. So I mean,
it's very much kind of how the NHL played out, right? Is you get a team in under the radar in the finals, and then you get like the favorite also in the finals.
Very, very, very true. Very much mirrored seasons, really, when you think about it. So, but I just think it'll just make it better for next year. There,
just want to see 1 or 2 competitive games, and I'll be into it.
Yeah, as long as it's not a sweep.
No sweeps, please. Interesting too. Just quickly, Doc Rivers signed on to be the coach of the 76ers. So
good for him. That was. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, this does a couple things, right? I think it really makes it interesting for how that Philadelphia-Boston matchup looks now. That little rivalry they have going. You bring in their old coach and to see if he can give them over the hump. I still have questions about how Embiid and Ben Simmons fit together, but if somebody could figure it out, it might be Doc.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, I still feel that he was just the scapegoat. You know what I mean? Like, we got to fire somebody. Somebody's got to pay the price for this. And of course, it won't be the GM, and it's not going to be the owner. So somebody got to pay the price.
Well, if Steve Ballmer would just move the Clippers up to Seattle, it would take care of all his problems. So, listen closely, Steve. Come home. Bring your team with you.
All right. So, man, I mean, we have a UFC fight night. And quite honestly, I mean, the card is. Man.
Hey, real quick, breaking news.
Yeah.
Cam Newton tested positive for COVID 9 minutes ago, and he's out versus the Chiefs.
Wow. Holy smokes.
Oh.
Well, then that makes the betting line even better, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Chiefs all the way.
Things up a little bit.
I'd like to hear Reed's thoughts on that. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Best of luck to you, Cam. Hopefully you get better. I mean, obviously, I think you will. It's just crappy. What a crappy situation. One of those false positives or something like that where you have to test a couple of times.
Yeah, it might be.
I mean, that seems to be right now. Like Tennessee was the only one there with multiple tests, and they had to cancel this week's game because of it. So that's interesting to me. That Tennessee move that Minnesota didn't have any. It makes me wonder about the way home, right? Because if somebody got a little bit loose with their protocol on the way home and picked it up, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to me that you wouldn't, there was a bunch of contact. They were able, because they have those contact tracers, all the players. Right. Yeah.
And they said there was like 48 different points of contact from positive player to positive player on Minnesota and Tennessee, but yet Minnesota has no positive players, right, or no positive tests. So it kind of makes you wonder about if maybe that they didn't pick something up on the way home. So,
well, I mean, it's crazy right now. Even the president getting tested positive for COVID. I mean, it's just crazy how contagious, and nobody seems to know how it's going. So, I mean,
it's super interesting to me to just, not to be political, but the president getting it, and they come out and say he has mild symptoms and he's going to quarantine at home, and then hours later he's transported to the hospital to spend a couple of days. So,
yeah,
but you can't trust anything, right? It's election year, so who knows what the risk.
That's it. I don't want to spend too much time, but I mean, it did happen, and it's also kind of lining up with what's happening with Tennessee right now as well. So,
Very, very interesting times.
That's crappy for New England. You want your best weapon out there for sure, and so I don't know how that's going to play out.
Josh McDaniels has really catered that offense to Cam's strengths, right? And so now the day before the game, they're going to have to get out and see what else they've got. And I would argue their backups aren't necessarily their strengths aren't Cam Newton's strengths, and so
they traded away all the good backups.
If anyone's going to be able to pull off this, it's going to be Belichick and McDaniels. They're so good at adapting that it'll be what it is. But
yeah. Hey,
rough
Bills Raiders. Bills Raiders.
Are you excited?
Oh, buddy, this is a great game. To me, if the Bills pull this one off, you, Reed, everybody else cannot say another darn word about how bad Josh Allen is, because you know what? They pull that off.
What?
They are
okay.
It's time for coronation.
If Josh Allen has a game that's been consistent with the previous 3 weeks, I'll be quiet. I'll give you that. But if they just win, no. He has to play well.
I'll
the
just
Raiders.
take the win.
The Raiders.
Josh, don't listen. Don't listen to these guys. I know it is the Raiders. But the Raiders are already showing that they could play some top tier football.
It's a good matchup. I'm just saying if he doesn't play well against the Raiders, but they still win, that's plausible. I'm not going to sign him off and say that it's, the second coming of Jim Kelly. That's all.
So I'm Seattle has Miami, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why you're saying 4-0.
But it feels like a setup game though, right? The secondaries, the defense is already not great and giving up historic yards. The secondary's banged up, no Jamal Adams, no Quentin Dunbar. The linebacking core is thin. But
your defense is Swiss cheese, brother.
Yes. And it's Fitzpatrick, right? Like he's going to get his yards, but he's also not Russell. If they let Russell cook, like they don't have the horses. Like Miami's secondary is banged up too, right? And their pass rush is great, and so they don't have the horses to keep up with Lockett and Mr. Metcalf. So
have you seen Ryan Fitzpatrick's Ryan? Have you seen Fitzpatrick's? Who he's put down, like as far as top quarterbacks?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Huh?
I've seen.
Have you seen that?
Power of the beard.
Because, buddy, I understand that you're there and you're going on like, oh my goodness, we got a 4-0. We're gonna go through this. Listen. Ryan Fitzpatrick could be coming out there, and because it's true, he does this where he plays like 3-4 games where he gets 450 yards, 6 touchdowns, and everybody's like, "Wow, where is this guy?" And then he just disappears after that.
And then Tua starts in week 6. That's his MO everywhere he's been, right?
Yeah.
The guy he'll give you, like you said, a couple of games thrown together, and then you'll have this monthly, and that's just the end of it.
I don't know, man. I don't know. You're pretty confident, and you know what? I can respect that.
It's just in what we've seen from the offense. If this was last year's offense, I wouldn't be this confident. But this year, with what they've been able to do, opening up the passing game for Russ early and letting them get out to those big starts, like
totally. I don't disagree with your offense. Absolutely not. Your offense is stellar.
Now it's
you're playing.
Offense. You're wearing the Russell jersey last week, and now it's my offense.
I was.
I've seen Cleveland gear and I've seen a Russell Wilson jersey.
Hey, what am I wearing today? Huh?
I don't know.
This is the All Blacks. What are you talking about?
Still not Josh Allen. What do they say now? To be the man, you got to beat the man.
Yeah, that's right. To be the man. You gotta beat the man. Woo! I'm sorry. That's just way too much.
That was a great impression of it.
All right. So I'm looking at the schedule, right?
Yeah.
And so, like Tampa Bay Chargers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Los Angeles Chargers. That's going to be good.
Yeah.
I find that to be good. Texans, Vikings. Something tells me the Vikings are going to be 0-4.
Yeah, I think so too, which gets Houston off their slide. So
They need that.
I don't know if there's been a more fascinating game of winless teams.
It's true, though.
The Thursday night game, though, with the Jets and the Broncos was actually entertaining.
It was an entertaining game.
It wasn't great football, but it was entertaining.
Yeah, it was entertaining. Absolutely. I'll give you that. Well, I mean, it is football. We're going to watch it because it is football, right?
Yeah,
so
100%.
Saints, Lions.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, to me, both these teams need to win, really. I mean,
yeah, Drew Brees has not looked great.
No.
It has to be the loss of Michael Thomas, but still, you would think, in the past, you've seen Drew kind of rise to the challenge, and not so much this year. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I think the Lions defense has something for them. I don't know if, New Orleans is down a couple secondary players. That's the thing that we're seeing, right? A lot of knees, a lot of ACLs, and a lot of hamstring injuries.
Right.
From position guys, right? Corners and wide receivers, especially. So I think that plays some of it into not having a preseason. But you're looking at a New Orleans defense that's down some key players. Matt Stafford's playing like Matt Stafford, which is, just outside the top 10 quarterback, I feel like. Actually has some weapons. Adrian Peterson needs to be drug tested because he plays like, the 26-year-old version of himself.
I know.
I feel like, and I don't know why I feel like this, but I feel that Adrian Peterson is like the Barry Bonds of football.
You really think he's on the juice?
I think he's on something.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not saying it's illegal, because here's the thing about Barry Bonds, right? Barry Bonds was on some stuff that wasn't technically illegal when he was. He just found that way around it. And that's not to say that either one of them, they both work very hard, right? They both 100%, it's hard work. They're not cheating. They're just finding a competitive edge. But, you got Adrian saying he wants to play till he's 40, and you watch him now and you really can't doubt him if he holds this level,
Yeah.
Maybe he just takes care of his body well. Who knows? But I'm just jaded, I guess. So.
Well, I mean, that guy has been showing up he has had those injuries there. Who knows? I mean, in order for him to come back, what he's been doing. But I want to think nothing but positivity with Adrian Peterson, because to me, he's like a great running back that unfortunately has now no championships to. Same thing as Barry Sanders, no championships to go along with all those great rushing performances, So
right.
Jaguars, Bengals. Well, I mean,
if you ever wanted to see a shootout, that's going to be it.
That is it. Yeah, I agree with you.
With some weapons, no real defenses. I think you get there with that game, right? I mean, that's just the thing. Yeah,
that looks like a potential Madden score.
I mean, we might as well. I mean, we could probably just fly to Miami. Look, we can buy tickets for the Seahawks Miami game for as low as $37, according to this ad. So,
wow, I would love to go there. Jeez.
Minnesota, Houston, $37.
Wow.
But your Buffalo Bills in Las Vegas. Guess what the lowest ticket price is right now?
$200. $330.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pay for a new stadium somehow.
I guess.
In Tampa, $370. Man, Tampa's feeling themselves.
Well, that's because you just brought on what, Gronk and Tom Brady. You gotta put butts in the seats and make that money while you can, right? I don't know.
Golly.
I gotta make that money.
Gotta get it.
Browns, Cowboys. That to me looks like a great matchup.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield has to show up. Because that Cowboys defense is like Swiss cheese, just like yours.
Yeah, they're gonna get gashed.
The Cowboys.
Yeah. Oh, with that rushing attack, they're going to get gashed out.
Yeah.
I don't know that Baker has to have necessarily a big game, because I think that the running backs do the damage.
I think so too. I mean, you got both of them, Chubb and
Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, Hunt and yeah, I totally agree.
It might be where they turn it around, right? This might be where the passing game gets established and they get to work.
That's it.
You just don't know, but it's going to be fascinating to watch. I really am keeping an eye on Dak Prescott and just how that team responds to him. I felt like last week, like he just, from a leadership perspective, those guys just were not willing to rally around him. Cleveland's going to be in a spot where one or two defensive stops and you get those guys to turn the ball over. They might just stretch out and go and get away from them. So.
And depending too on what kind of performance we see from Myles Garrett, because if Myles Garrett is going and running after Dak, I mean,
what's going to be interesting to watch is Ezekiel Elliott's effort. I felt like his effort not great last week.
No,
he at least 3 passes out of the backfield that he should have caught. I mean, he really shot them in the foot a couple of times, and kind of hindered them staying competitive in that game. Because even though it came down to the end, right to the last play, an interception or to seal that game for the Seahawks, they were up. And a DK Metcalf gaff like that, they would have been up even more. So,
it looked like Leon Lett. The ghost of Leon Lett got to him there because Dallas was there.
Yeah. I wonder if DK's dead and Leon Lett were ever teammates. That would make sense.
This is how you mess up a touchdown.
Leon had that influence on a young DK and it just came out there.
I hope he never does that again, man. Because Leon Lett did it twice, so hopefully he never does that again.
Leon Lett did a lot of things that we
All right, Cardinals-Panthers. This one should be interesting.
Yeah, I think it's super interesting, right? I mean, Teddy Bridgewater has been steady, but you got to wonder how he's going to react with that front four from the Cardinals coming after him and pressing. And so it's going to be interesting to watch. DeAndre Hopkins, having that ankle is going to be, we know he's tough. We know he's a baller. Likely he plays and has a great game. If he doesn't, that really comes out to be a thing. Interesting to watch Carolina rebound after not having Christian McCaffrey, right? And just watching what they're able to do with Mike Davis and seeing how they go. Because, Christian sounds like he's still a couple weeks away. So definitely an interesting matchup in the NFC.
Now, the next one I'm looking at here that it's interesting to me is also Colts Bears. Wow, who would have thought Bears 3-0, 2 different quarterbacks?
Yeah, the Nick Foles experiment is in full force. And, the Colts defense really has been putting pressure on and creating a lot of turnovers, right? And so they're someone to be messed with. So that's good. I think that's a good matchup in the early window. I won't watch it because, my team's on in that same window. But
no, for sure, yeah. I'll probably be forced to watch it because it's either New England here because I'm in Nova Scotia, and Nova Scotia is like, I don't know, Boston light. So I'm forced to watch New England games. It's terrible. I love Nova Scotia, but guys,
you're like a year away from buying a Patriots jersey. I can feel it.
It's happening. Oh, Ravens, Washington, forget about it. That one's a wash. I don't even know what I'm not even going to talk about it because, Ravens wins.
Yeah, and maybe like in the worst matchup for a Sunday night game we'll see is Philadelphia at the 49ers.
Oh, listen, Niners are injured, and the Eagles desperately need to win. And here's the thing. The Eagles are so bad. Their division, they're still in a playoff hunt. They're all 2-1. They're still in a playoff hunt.
Philadelphia has the curse of Terrell Owens because they cannot keep a wide receiver healthy. On Friday, they had 1 wide receiver practice. 1.
This is terrible. Look, if you just have a look at this, okay? Look at this. So you have the Cowboys playing the Browns. So that maybe they win, right? Maybe. But then you have the Giants playing the Rams. I don't see the Giants walking out with that one.
Man, you have to really be concerned if you're a Giants fan that you don't win all year. They are atrocious.
Washington's playing the Ravens. That they're losing. So, I mean, here you are. You can still lose and still be in a playoff hunt. It's terrible. The NFC East is terrible.
We could be through week 4 and just still have the NFC East only having 2 wins total.
Yeah. And here's the thing is that you still have a chance.
Yep.
It'll be like 2010 for Seattle.
You're saying there's a chance. That 2010 season gave us Beastquake, so
It did. That was
I'm not
beautiful.
upset about that at all. I don't make the rules. The division winner goes to the playoffs. I don't make the rules.
That's right. No, hey, and they still took out New Orleans, so I mean, you can't say anything about that.
Yeah.
Falcons and Packers, buddy. Falcons need a win, they're not going to get it in Green Bay.
Get it in Green Bay.
You think so?
I don't know.
Man,
I think it'll be a fun game to watch. I think.
Yes, it will.
Aaron Rodgers is playing well, so it's always hard to bet against Aaron, right? I mean, that's just who he is. He doesn't necessarily even have to have weapons, which he doesn't, right? His receivers are out and all those things, but Atlanta's prone to give up the ghost, and so that's the move. Hi. Good morning.
So I got a wife sports question of the week here.
Okay.
So this is from my wife, Joanna, to me.
Yeah.
When will you finally admit that rugby players are tougher than hockey players? And why isn't rugby a mainstream sport? Okay. So rugby is a mainstream sport.
Yeah.
It's just on the other side of the world. So that was very American. And rugby players are tough. I don't know. They're extremely tough. I mean, I can't sit there and say they're not tough. I mean, you see the scrums, you see that they play with no pads. Yeah. But hockey, you're skating with blades. And I've seen already like twice guys getting sliced at the jugular by a missed thing. And then people having to plug that jugular with their finger. And some of the hits are just, I mean, I hate that.
I think the rugby players are probably the toughest dudes in the world.
They're tough. They're tough. I don't know if they're football and hockey tough. I don't know about that. They're tough.
Pair of pads and they slam into each other. It's not like they have the lightweight division. You got to be 135 pounds to play rugby.
Okay, yeah. I'll
you
give
and I
you
can
that.
go play rugby right now.
Yeah.
And get messed up.
But you know what? Nowhere. Okay, so rugby is just your body, right? Hockey, I mean, we're giving you weapons.
Yeah, but
we're giving you weapons.
I understand. Just understand this is that you have weapons. Sure, you can't really use them. I mean, it's true there's incidental contact and those things.
Whoa! Did you ever see Marty McSorley? Did you ever see Marty McSorley bash Donald Brashear over the head with a stick? And it was the only time that in a professional sport where they had to arrest a man, bring him into a court for assault.
Listen, there's dudes in rugby that are getting violated like they're in prison.
Yeah.
In the scrum.
This is true. Listen. I think you got to be tough to go into any sport, okay? I'm still saying the hockey's the only sport we're going to give you weapons and here, go. Get out there.
Maybe. I mean, I know you can skate fast, but you can't launch yourself properly like you can in a football field, and you got a helmet. I think like the Ronnie Lott days of NFL.
Oh.
Head hunters.
Listen, football, that's some tough.
Listen, Ronnie Lott cut his finger off and then went.
I know, and comes back in. I know the story. That's crazy. You ain't seeing no athlete do that now, I'll tell you that.
More putting tape on it. Like I was running. I don't need that thing.
Well, rugby is a real sport. Sorry, Joanna. It is.
It is.
It's really huge.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunately in America and Canada we don't really cover it as much as
the World Championship. I know this. I have a coworker of mine who's a giant rugby fan, and the World Championship for rugby was in BC last year.
That's right. Yeah.
He went up to us. It was a blast. It's just I think I don't know why it hasn't taken off here, but.
It's a different kind of sport, and I think it's hard to understand why. So in football, you throw the ball forward, but in rugby, you keep passing it back, right? So it's like that's different. Yeah, and then just seeing these guys kick randomly, just kick to go for points randomly.
I think we're all too soft to understand the rules. I mean, it's kind of like soccer, right? Like soccer's finally. You say catching hold in some parts of the country, anyway, from a professional level for sure.
Yeah.
The Sounders here in Seattle, it's a fun place to be. Really, it's one of the highlights of my professional fandom is being on the field as they won their last championship, and experiencing that, that magic. But rugby's kind of the same thing. I think you'd have to have a league and get people to buy and go. You're talking about, baseball and football and hockey leagues we're in our 100th year, right? Somewhere in there. That's a long time. You got a lot of juice, like that's kind of, I think, why we don't see mainstream sport be like a rugby, right? Or a soccer. Is just historically, you're not sitting down on Saturday with your dad to watch rugby typically, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Man.
But Joanna, I will agree with you that rugby players are tougher than hockey players.
Oh, geez, Brad. Wow, you're just sipping that Kool-Aid.
Normally I'm in your corner. I'm normally in your corner.
Yeah, you are normally. I'll let you slide on this one here. Jeez. Listen, you know what? They are tough. I mean, I can't even say that they're not tough. I think to me, if you want to talk about the three toughest athletes in any professional sports, you're definitely looking at football, you're looking at rugby, and you're looking at hockey. Those three sports, I mean, yeah, you got to be tough to be out there.
Not a lot of flopping in those sports.
No, and I hate having to compare, okay, who is the toughest? But part of me wants to say, yes, rugby players are that tough because they play with no pads. But hockey players have weapons. So, I mean, it's like, and plus on top of that, you have to understand that when they're on those skates, they're going at speeds that are just crazy. That's why they had to do the boarding. I mean, boarding penalties are serious.
Oh, yeah. Back then.
Yeah. Like Wayne Gretzky was never the same after getting hit there by Gary Suter, where he was in the board, and then Gary Suter just came and just cross-checked him, and his head went right into the boards like that and just compressed his back. And Gretzky was never the same after that. Yeah, sure, he was still getting 118 points a season, but he was never the same. You know what I mean? Like,
never the same, still the greatest hockey player ever.
Yeah.
And it says something, right? Imagine what he could have been. If he was that good with that injury, like, imagine what would have been had he not been that way.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. I mean, him and Mario Lemieux, two of the best hockey players to ever lace up skates. And Mario Lemieux had to leave because of Hodgkin's lymphoma for a little bit there. And Gretzky got that crazy back injury. And you're thinking to yourself, like, these are your premier players. You want to protect them. Like, look at LeBron. Like, I was seeing a thing that the Lakers were complaining because in this finals, because I guess LeBron hasn't got enough calls to shoot at the charity stripe. And I'm like, listen, I understand you're a premier player, but for crying out loud, I mean, it's the same as like Sidney Crosby just crying all the time, you know what I mean, to get penalties. And you know what? That's your right. As a superstar player, yeah, you do that. Tom Brady does the same thing. I mean, you're a superstar player. I understand that. But at the same hand, Gretzky was from that time period where it's just like, man, you had the enforcer, right? So it was just like this. If something bad happened, then you bring out Dave Semenko. He's going to come and teach you something. You know what I mean? But,
well, I mean, for me, it's the same argument that LeBron's the greatest player of all time, and he's not.
Yeah, I know, and that's an argument you can go back.
He's not saying he's not talented, but we're talking about him going for his 4th championship in his 17th year.
I know,
right? Which makes Michael's 6 feel like he could get there, but Michael wasn't ever defeated in the finals. This is LeBron's 10th trip to the finals.
I know. It's unfathomable.
Not even 50%.
Yeah.
So you can take that. You can take that greatest of all time, and you can go stick it somewhere. Like, is he a good athlete? He's a great athlete. 100% agree. But Michael Jordan wasn't complaining. Having Phil Jackson call the league office and tell him that he needed to get more calls.
Yeah. No, I hear that. It's one of those arguments that for sure I think you could have that back and forth. I'm also of the camp that Jordan is better than LeBron, but I do respect the way LeBron plays the game.
There's no, I mean, it's hard even to take different areas. I feel like that about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's scoring record, right? Well, yeah, you played 20 years, right? You're going to score a lot of points.
Yeah.
You should, anyway.
Yeah, but he was a center playing 20 years as well. I mean, usually centers don't play like that. You know what I mean? Unless you're Bill Russell with 11 championships there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What really helped Kareem, I think, was playing with Magic and James Worthy in that run out. Like, he got way less wear and tear in his body because they were that Showtime offense, right? And so, he wasn't called on to be the focal point of the offense and take that beating in the post like a lot of centers end up getting. But he's still a great player, like, not to take away from any of those guys. But, I just think it's silly to try to say that LeBron's the GOAT, one, while he's still playing, because that feels weird. But two, just you compare him to Michael, and it's not even the same. But anyway, we digress.
We are, yeah. Now we're going in the weeds.
Yeah.
So, Brad, that picture of our artwork there, that's everywhere there on our podcast, on our social media, that was in my Pontiac Solstice there while we were going over to go watch Seattle Mariners, Tampa Bay Rays in a luxury box that my CEO ended up giving me the tickets there for all the work that I was doing over there at NAS Whitby Island for the Canadians. And so that was pretty cool that he thought of me, gave me the tickets, and we were able to go. So first thing.
Even cooler, though, was that there was no one else in that box.
There was what?
There was no one else in that box.
No one. That box was for us.
Yeah.
That was for us, brother. I found it amazing that Solstice was able to move, first off, with 500 pounds in it.
I think 500 is conservative.
Well, back then, I know I had to been around 260.
I mean, I was in that 240 world, so I feel like it might have been a little more than five.
So that was looking like a clown car, right? Driving us over downtown Seattle, top down. So we get
There's
there.
probably people that still tell that story when what I saw this one day? There's two gorillas in this little car, and they had the top down because clearly they couldn't fit in it.
That was like that car reminded me so much of the Flintstones, where both of us could have picked it up and just like ran. It's like
the car, I remember getting in the parking garage and getting out and hearing the car sigh when we got out.
Please leave.
Thank you.
But then here we are, and I remember with our tickets, the usual spots that we would go to in order to enter, they're telling us like, no, you don't enter this way. Yeah. Come with me.
We have a special entrance for you. We're like, all right. Whatever.
And it was up an elevator.
Yeah, it was very private.
We get up there. I remember walking through, and it was very corporate. Like you could tell the lighting, the carpets, everything. It was very corporate to walk in there. And we're walking in, and here is this luxury box that we're walking into, and it was just for us. It was all for us. We had the I believe it was the president of, or the vice president of media relations or whatever that was with us. Yep. And I remember what they had for the spread, which was a great spread if you were a CEO and were About to make great decisions. We were just here to watch a game.
Yeah, there's two Neanderthals.
Brad, please continue with the story.
Yeah, well, I mean, they did, and then remember they brought us the good food, and so we flipped them open, and it was full of macaroni and cheese, double cheeseburgers with all the fixings that you wanted. There was those mini corn dogs. Remember the mini corn dogs? Integrated. And then a freezer full of beer and ice cream and all the soft drinks that you wanted to drink. And I remember, I don't remember a lot about that ordeal other than just eating like normal Sean and Brad eat when we.
That's right.
And I remember like the fifth inning, that lady came in to check the food and it was all gone. And she looked at her eyes real big and she was like, "Is it just the two of you in here?" We're like, "Yeah." Like, "Do you need more food?" And we're like, "Yeah, it's the fifth inning. Like, bring the rest of it here."
I did the look of shock on her face.
And I don't know if you remember this. She like checked the fridge and saw all the beer was gone. And then she like, remember when she came back, she brought those two other ladies with her. It was almost like she was like, "You have to see this crazy. Like, there's these two men in this box that have completely eaten all the food.
I drank all the beer."
Yeah.
I was like, "But this is what you do in a box."
Yeah.
That's what you do?
That's what you should do. That's how you should act. I remember we just killed a bowl of Skittles like in the first inning. Remember? They're like, "That's for the whole game." That's an inning.
they definitely never had sports fans in there before.
Oh, no, that was a new. You could tell they weren't used to that.
The look of shock and horror. But it was funny because the VP, he was just like, yeah, it's so refreshing. It's so refreshing to have sports fans.
It felt like it was someone that was enjoying the box, right? That was the thing. I think it was probably about 500 pounds of ass in the car on the way down. It was probably 530 on the way back.
Oh yeah, easily because of what we ate and drank there, for sure, for sure. Now I've been to other luxury boxes there, like twice.
Remember they brought us the pizza?
Oh my gosh, I do. Oh my gosh, that was some good pizza.
It was the best pizza. I mean, after I already had 7 cheeseburgers.
That's the thing too. Is like we were going to town on those cheeseburgers. I'm looking at you going, man, should we get the pizza? Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Pizza. You only live once.
All I know is that was the best box experience I ever had. Yeah. Now, I remember going to a Toronto Rock game, and I got to go to the box there. It was nice, but nothing like Seattle. Seattle, Safeco Field.
No.
Thank you. Thank you.
Safeco Field has the best box in Seattle for sure. I've been in the boxes of Seahawks and Sounders and that kind of stuff, and even the Sonics when they were here. And the Sonics box was fun, but there's definitely ways around it. And I think I would encourage people, if you could find a way to get in, I would definitely do it. Oh. And there's been times where I've had friends have corporate boxes, and I've been at the game and. They'll snag, some of the people's tickets from the box, and then we'll come out and meet in Gen Pop, and then we'll all go back after the box. And pretty soon you've got, 40 or 50 people in a box that's supposed to be for 25. And, shout out to the stadium for not making a big deal out of it. They figure,
listen,
for a good time, right? So
listen, I mean, it's first off, sometimes it's atrocious that these boxes happen and everything like that. But if you ever get invited to a box, because it will happen to the average man once, maybe twice in their life. Okay, you gotta go, and don't let these people make you feel one way or the other. Okay, because some of them, they actually like to see, my gosh, and then they'll have a story to tell. Let me tell you something. They have a story to tell then that this average Joe,
they're fans too.
Yeah, they're in complete awe that that there are people that walk around that could polish off what we could polish off. So don't.
We went to another game. I feel like you and I went to a box a separate time, and we were in with some other people. Was that me and you, or was that me and somebody else?
That was me and you, I do believe. Yes.
And
we were just talking to people.
Yeah, and they were like watching like a football game on the screen and the thing. They had no interest in baseball at all. We just ate all their food too. Like
we ate their food. It's like, yeah. Sorry, buddy. Yeah.
It was like, where'd all the food go? I remember just like eating like.
Well, what are they gonna do? I remember that too. The both of us looking at each other. What are they gonna do? That guy's 180 pounds.
Come take this off my plate.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Walk over here. Come on.
Yeah. Go get yourself some popcorn. Go get yourself a beer. Ask somebody else. All right.
We left the popcorn because we all know that's BS filler, right? Like we didn't touch the popcorn machine. Not real food.
Oh my gosh.
I will openly judge you as a sports fan in the stands if you come back from the, you go to the concession stand, you come back with a beer and a thing of popcorn. Like, listen, we're on a different level.
Safeco, I love Safeco for that though. That you can go buy stuff off the vendors from the street and then bring it in.
Oh yeah,
that was awesome because like Toronto, they're not letting you do that in Toronto.
Yeah, well they have it for the Seahawks game too. We've got a guy, a brat. Hot link guy that sits right down by where we always park at, and we always hit him up. And he looks like Walter Jones's brother. You know what I mean? He's this big, massive man. Which really, if you're going to buy food from a vendor, you got to buy it from the big guy, right?
Oh yeah.
Like if you go to a food truck and it's a skinny guy running it, like that.
No, yeah. There's a saying in the Navy: like, never trust a skinny cook.
Yeah, and that's what it is. Never trust a skinny food truck guy. Like you got to be like that. Looks like a guy that enjoys food. Like that food's going to be top shelf.
That's it.
We go see that guy. He's like, "What do you want on your dog there?" And I'm like, "However you normally make it. You look like you enjoy it. Like you just, I'll take your advice."
Unless you put some anchovies on there, then I might have to question you.
No, listen, that doesn't happen here.
Yeah. Okay.
Cream cheese, spicy mustard, and that stuff.
Man. Well, listen, week 8 looks like it's in the books.
Yeah, we're getting close. We do have one-on-one question. I have one for you.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's do this.
This has been on my mind, this past week, or really longer than that, watching, basketball playoffs. And I'm really concerned, a lot of things LeBron, and one of them is his hairline. And so what I thought of this week is who held on to their hair longer, LeBron or Hulk Hogan? And both of them held on too long.
A little too long, yeah. Well, I mean, unfortunately, I still have to say Hulk Hogan because he's still holding on to it. I don't know if you've ever seen him. That hair is.
I mean, but LeBron's got a fake brow. Like, that's why he has to wear the headband. You won't see him in public without something on his head because his hair is jacked.
I honestly think
all
LeBron,
that money, he could have figured out a way to get his hair to grow.
Man, I know LeBron's not listening to this podcast, and if he is, listen, just do what Mark Messier did. Shave it all off. Yeah. Listen, it's okay.
Be like LeBron and Kobe, just get the clippers out, man. Just go no guard, cleared it up. Like,
it's okay. You know what? I mean, if I start losing my hair like that, I'm shaving it all off. I'm not about to do the comb over. No. It looks terrible.
My hair recedes. I look like that. I'm taking that thing in the shower and growing a big burly beard. Like, I'll grow the King James beard and hang that thing out there. That's what I just don't know.
Like, Hogan maybe should do the same thing, but I think that's kind of his gimmick now. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, straight edge Terry making porn videos and smoking weed, trying to get back to being relevant.
All right, my one-on-one question to you. So I was looking this week. Roy Jones Jr. is trying to pull out of this fight. Like, he's taking
the training video that we all saw. He wants no part of that.
I know. So that was my one-on-one question is, do you think that he's intimidated right now by Mike Tyson?
Yes.
Like, I think
he's someone who's not.
Like, I honestly think he's there and he's looking at it and it's like Apollo Creed and Ivan Drago there, right? He's there going, it's an exhibition fight. It's an exhibition fight. And then he realizes, whoa, this guy came to fight.
Mike knows one speed, and that's kill. His trainer is taking real shots, man. Like, that's real agony on his face through the pads. Like, you can say, like, I read some this week, and there's some trolls in the comments saying, "Oh, that's slowed down or sped up."
I know. Yeah, okay,
like,
buddy.
The guy's faking it. Sure, look in that trainer's eyes and watch him get hit in the ribs. That's real pain.
Like, whatever, man.
Imagine that he's angry and that you don't have any rib protection on, and you're gonna eat that thing. I'd be like, I got money. If I'm Roy, I'm like, I got money.
Yeah, I think he's a Russian citizen right now too, right?
He's not paying taxes.
No, that's exactly it. So, I mean, he just took that money. He's going to run, right? He just took that advance.
Like, they'll probably get it back from him, but he don't need it.
Yeah, because all I'm thinking is, like, man, he's just looking at this. He's just looking at this, and he's going to himself. No, he doesn't understand. There's an exhibition fight. No. Tyson's ready to kill.
He should have known. Mike Tyson's not the most stable guy.
No.
He only knows one speed, and that's to rip your face off.
I'll be so disappointed if this fight doesn't happen. I gotta be honest.
I want to see Mike. I just want to see Mike dominate him. I just want to see Mike just standing over him.
I'll be so disappointed. But what are you gonna do? Well, week 8 now is officially in the books.
Yeah, week 8.
Listen, find us on all social media, Guys Beer Sports.
Yes.
Okay, Instagram.
Website, where you get your podcast. Holler at us, answer some questions. Let's talk. Let's figure it out. Virtual sports bars are where it's at. Enjoying connecting with my friend here. Hope you guys are enjoying it too. We appreciate the love, all the views, all those things are, it's really, we feel blessed to be here because honestly, we feel like you're a part of what we do. So thank you for that. And Joe, great question this week. I'll side with you.
There you go, Joe. And I'm just going to give a big sociable shout out there to all my Dartmouth, Halifax, Haligonians, all you guys. Listen, I understand Nova Scotia Sports Hall of Fame shut down. Let's get some awareness into this. Let's hopefully that they can find a place there to put all this because there's too many superstars that are there. Yeah, and the rest of you that are all listening, I appreciate it from the bottom of our hearts. And man, enjoy this Sunday.
Hey, don't do that pumpkin spice thing a disservice. You better get that thing bottoms down. Like that's, get to it.
Beer.
You got a beer. Just go put your scarf on and then just get it down. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm going to go jump in right now.
Yeah, sounds great.
All right.
Peace out.
Peace.
You've listened to the podcast, but now it's time to visit us in our virtual sports bar. Get all of our info at guysbeersports.com, where you can find all the ways to connect with us. Watch for live conversations with Brad and Sean that happen throughout the week, and join in with your favorite local beer. You can share your thoughts in the conversation comments with your own uploaded videos, or even join us as a guest live commentator. The GBS Virtual Sports Bar is open for business. Come on in, boys and girls.